What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Submission Fishing Live. My name is Muto. Glad you could join us. All the future black belts out there. What's going on, guys? Future fishing black belts. Who we got in the house? Cal, dude. First one. Oos. You're early, man. Glad to see you. Glad you can make it. Big water yak fishing. Welcome. Salty. Oos. Welcome. Jesse. Oos. Welcome, man. Not much. Big water. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. I got back from a trip. We'll talk about that later. Went out with Dave Rage on a day and a half, and I got back. Gosh, I guess it was yesterday. Yeah, I'm like still recovering. I felt like it was like days ago, but I guess we got back early yesterday. Took a nap. Even went to bed early today, but man, I'm still feeling it. I'm still beat. 2 days sleeping 2 nights on a boat. It's brutal. You just don't sleep that well. You kind of get tossed around, and then you're up fishing all day. It's hard to recover from that. I was like, man, why am I so tired today? I couldn't figure it out. I was like, oh yeah, forgot I went fishing for 2 days. Yeah, Cave Dog, we smashed it. Dave smashed it, dude. That dude, he's a killer. He's fishy. Every time I look over, that dude was bendo. Freaking crazy. It was like every stop, it was like his rod was just bent over. But yeah, we did well. I mean, we did surprisingly well. It was like we went 150 miles down south into Mexico. It was crazy. It was a long trip, but yeah, it was super fun. Leonard, Oos, what's going on, man? Welcome. If you guys are new to the stream, everybody that's says Oos, it just means they like the stream. So if you guys like the stream, press the like button. I appreciate it. That really helps out. Lets everybody know that we're on, that we're here, that you liked it, you've seen it. So thank you for that, guys. And it seems like I haven't fished with a lot of you guys in a while. Salty, it seems like decades. Leonard, we saw at the pickle run. That was cool. Cave Dog. Well, I guess Cal, we just went out. Doug, Ruben, El Sueño, what's going on, man? Glad you could join us. Big water, yeah, I don't think we've been out yet. We'll get out there, though. We'll show you some of that slow pitch love. But yeah, fishing was good. Can't complain. Let's see. News. I didn't see anything noteworthy in the news this week. Same old stuff. I just implore you guys, go check out safesportfishing.com. Read up, see what you want to do with that about the boats as far as like turning the diesels over. They're trying to get the diesel motors converted to gasoline engines, but it's pretty unrealistic to have the big boats doing something like that. So formulate your own opinion. I signed it, trying to get them to reconsider it. So just check it out, read the facts, and make up your own mind about that. I know Arnie did a piece on it on Fishy Hour. I think if you look back on maybe a couple of weeks ago, one of the members of the Southern California CCA Coastal Association, he did a little piece on it. So he's a little more informed than a lot of us. So if you want to go hear what he had to say, go check out Fishy Hour. And yeah, I mean, check that out. News-wise, that's about it. The oil spill looks like it's pretty much under control. Yeah, aside from that, not much, newsworthy in our local waters. Kiwi, what's going on, man? Glad you could join us. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Welcome, though. Ask these guys any questions you want. If you can ask us questions, ask these guys in here. Some of these dudes are slayers, man. Most of them are. So if you've got something that you need answered, the answer is probably in there within one of these dudes. Salty, yeah, finally got out of last weekend. Oh yeah, to hit a lower Otay Mesa. Is that because it was closer, or you just wanted to do some freshwater fishing as opposed to saltwater? Mix it up a little bit. Jesse Burmett, La Jolla on Saturday morning, y'all. There you go, the invitation for La Jolla. I don't know if I'll do La Jolla. I want to get some species. So right now, we're in the species challenge. For those of you that don't know, our fishing club, the MMFC, we're doing a species challenge for a month. So it's the most species you can catch. Normally it's, when you do a fish, it's the longest fish or the heaviest fish. But this one is just the saltwater or our local saltwater. So it's as many species that you can get a hold of. So I don't know if I'm going to do La Jolla. Jesse, I've got a ton of rockfish. I've got sheep's head. I've got sculpin. I think I've got calicos. I think I could pretty much get I got a yellowtail too last weekend, so I don't think there's anything La Jolla wise that would benefit me, unfortunately, at this point. I think I'm gonna go fish probably San Diego Bay and hit the riprap or some of the pilings and try to get some of those smaller fish. Bring some peas or some cut bait, stuff like that, and try to get some wrasse and some perch and stuff like that. Although there is perch at the kelp. Before the species challenge, I got some black perch and stuff like that. But we'll see. You never know. Might be some other dudes out there want to catch some. Go to La Jolla and catch it. Let me catch up on the chat here. Hey, how much do you sell your fish frostings for? I think $7 for it's a pretty good sized jar. It's like 2 ounces. I think like the smelly jelly, you get 1 ounce, and they're like kind of the same price. This stuff will last you. But yeah, I have to double check the price. I think it's $7 for a shrimp or a squid. Leonard hasn't fished since the pickle run. Haven't had my kayak out since the spotty bowl. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, it seemed like after spotty bowl, a lot of people they like they retired or took some time off. Nuluan, 2.5 day. What is that? 181 yellowfin tuna, 80 yellowtail, 42 skipjack tuna. Doug, yeah. Like I said, me and Dave Rage went out. I didn't even know what the fish count was. There was only 18 of us. It was a smaller boat on the Pegasus was what it was. But everybody hit limits. So if that's at least 5, bluefin per 18, what is that? Almost 200 fish for sure. We crushed the yellowfin. And we were throwing the yellowtail back because they were so small. They were just like the little babies. So we caught those and threw them back. Yeah, you need some rockfish species. That's the way to go then. Yeah, La Jolla, Jesse. I think that's a good call. Or you can go Mission Bay. We went Mission Bay and then went south last weekend. Cal and Mark G. Dude, Mark G was smashing it, dude. That whole got like 20 rockfish or something like that. Yeah, it was pretty wild. But he was using one of those Teinomi jigs, like the little ball with just like those feathers in the hooks. But I was struggling that day. Like I don't think I caught my first fish till like 10 o'clock or something like that. I was trying the bait and it wasn't working. So, I just went slow pitch and started catching some then. And then I tried going back to the hook baits. It wasn't working. They didn't want anything to do with that. Dave Rage, what's going on, man? Not much. I was just telling him, dude, how much of a slayer you are out there. Saying every freaking time I looked over my shoulder, dude, your rod was just bendo. Throwing those yellowfin in like they were just candy. That was awesome, man. Oos, Jessica, on my way home from jiu-jitsu. Well, you know where I live. I'll be here. We got to train tomorrow morning too. Don't burn yourself out. I think there's an all women's class Thursday nights that she goes to. So she's been coming in late. But at least she's watching the show from the gym, I guess. Cal, let's see. South Bay for rays. Yeah, I've heard that too. Although I caught a nice ray in La Jolla. Sorry, guys. I'm just catching up here. Kiwi, are you a racist for not liking freshwater fishing? No, I don't really like freshwater fishing either. But I've never really gone like big game fishing. I go trout fishing. And there's something like I like catching fish that like I can eat or there's a potential to eat, if that makes sense. I like, although I'm not keeping and eating spotties, but like especially when I go to La Jolla or rock fishing, there's always that potential, but you can always get that halibut, right? I think you go bay bass or not bay bass, just like largemouth fishing. I guess you can eat them, but nobody does. It's more for sport. They're a hell of a fight. And to be fair, disclaimer, I've never caught like a largemouth bass. Done plenty of catfish, lots of trout fishing. I grew up on a lake actually, so I always fish for trout. But yeah, it's slower. I like saltwater. I don't know if it's the adventure. I kind of like the waves, the swells. And I like that you can get to like different. It seems like saltwater fishing, when you throw a lure in, it's always kind of a surprise, like what you're going to pull out. And I think that's kind of what I like about it. When you're freshwater fishing, it's like, it's laser focused. What you're using for largemouth bass is not going to catch you a trout, and vice versa. And then there's, the crappie and stuff like that. But it's pretty targeted fish. You're going for a specific thing. one thing I kind of like about saltwater, to be honest with you, is like you can go to the docks and like on a Ned rig, like I've caught spotted bay bass, I've caught barracuda on Ned rig, I've caught halibut. So sometimes you're fishing for spotties, but then you get that huge bite, and it's something totally different. And that's kind of I think why I enjoy saltwater too. It's just more. I don't know if it's more variety or the fish will bite. More fish will bite kind of the same thing. I think so. I think that's kind of what I enjoy about it a little bit. It's always like a surprise. You don't really know what you have on the end until it's like halfway up. And then you get to that point where you're like, you're pretty sure you know what it is. Like I can kind of guess when it's a halibut or a spotty, like just how they feel and they react. But I don't know. It's always just kind of fun. Like when you think you got a spotty on and you pull it up and you're like, oh, it's a perch. That's so cool. Or you reel it in. And I had a barracuda one time, like bit an Ned rig at the docks, and I was like, oh my god, it was a barracuda. And I thought I had a spotted bay bass, but yeah, I'm not a huge freshwater fan too. I'm not sure why. I fish, but if it's there, I'll go fish. Like I went to Laughlin this year, and I fished the river. Like I went to I'll fish freshwater if that's the only thing to fish for sure. Fishing's still fishing, but there's a lot of freshwater guys here that love it. So our coach loves it. Brian. So I got no hatred for the freshwater fish, but it's not my go-to either. So don't feel bad. Me and you can join the same boat. Lobster. Let's go. I've never fished for lobster, Doug. The guys always talk about it. I don't think a lot of the dudes are out here doing it this year. Seems like last year was Lobster Fest, man. And you guys were out there like every weekend. I don't know if it seems like a lot of work or it's boring, but Zach Riggs kind of told me that like you set the lobster pots, then you go fish. And I think that'd be pretty cool. Set a string of pots and then go fish for like an hour or two and then come back and check your pots. That'd be cool. Straight lobster fishing. I don't know. It's just kind of like you wait and bait, right? Throw them down and then see what you got. I mean, catching legal lobster would be cool and eating them. Jessica, $7.99. I'm guessing that's the fish frosting price. Picks them up on your next paycheck. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. G. Muramuto. Hi from Crestline. Oos. Welcome, Mom. That's my mother. Say hi to her. Yeah, Crestline. That's where I grew up, guys. Lake Gregory's up there. So we used to go trout fishing up there. All the little lakes. Green Valley Lake, Big Bear, Lake Arrowhead. Although not so much Lake Arrowhead because it was a private lake. But all the other ones are maintained by the county. And I got a lightning trout up there this year. And I think they haven't been stocking them, though. That was the one thing with COVID. It was like the fish stocks have been really low and they've never really caught them up. And then when they do stock them, they're just like, it's like anything else. There's no inventory. It's hard to get. And then when they do, it's like tiny little stocks. So it's rough, man. Freshwater is kind of rough if they're not stocking, and you're going to like a stock late. Although, do they stock bass? I always just hear about trout stocking. So I guess I haven't put two and two together, but I imagine they don't stock bass because nobody takes the bass home, right? They're throwing them back so they thrive. I think people catch the trout and then eat the trout, and that's likely the whole point. Limits 90 plus. Yeah, Dave. We freaking smashed it, man. Need to go wash the truck so I can put my submission fishing sticker. So I like to hear, Big Yak Fishing. Yeah, you bought some stickers, dude. I appreciate it. Eric, the Judge Lehman. Oos, what's going on, man? Glad you could join us. You finally got torn away from work. Trust me, man. I know how it goes, especially that new business owner. Those first couple years, you grind, man. You grind. But once you can get ahead, delegate your powers to other people. You can relax a little bit, and once you just got to get it working like clockwork. But it's a grind at first, but it'll totally be worth it, man. Proud of you. Not a lot of people take that step. Rockfish trip next week. Yeah, dude, I'm down. So I'm always down to fish. I don't care if it's boat or whatever, but yeah, if you want to do some rock fishing, let's do it. Hit me up. If you're on Discord, Doug, you can hit me up there, like private message me or in the, I'm down. Instagram, I think. I'm a follower of yours on there. Slow pitch was fire on the Sandies. Yeah, Cal, dude, we went out there this weekend and just freaking crushed it. Cal, dude, caught this hog. I heard him. He hooked up on something, And we were kind of a ways away, and I heard him just yelling. I think he was on the comms with Mark, and he was like, "Yo!" And I did that rod. It was just like bent over, and he showed me later, dude. That thing was like 22 inches. It was fat too, dude. That was freaking awesome. I love seeing that on that slow pitch. It's so fun on that, man. I love jigging fish, even rockfish. I don't know if it's just something about that bite. Like you're not waiting for it, right? You're creating the bite, and I think that's what I love about slow pitch jigging is instead of just putting a piece of bait on and waiting for, you're actually like you're doing the work. You're like creating the bite from the fish. It's just I love something about that. It's just so productive, or not productive. What's the word? I guess active would be the word I'm looking for. Took home a grip of fish, dude. I saw your freezer. I got a lot of fish too, and we ate a whole bunch last night. And then I've still got collars. I've got so much. I'm pretty sure they shorted me a fish though, but I have so much. Like I was like, whatever. The guy was like, "Oh, we can't find it it wasn't tagged or something." I think I tagged it in the wrong spot. That was at the beginning. We were like, got this feeding frenzy, and then the deckhands were like, "Oh, can you tag the fish for us?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, I guess." And then afterwards, I'm like, "Hey, I'm missing a fish." He was like, "Oh, well, I think some of you guys had them on the deck and they weren't tagged properly." I'm like, "Dude, you were the one telling us to tag the fish." It wasn't that big of a deal. I couldn't have eaten all that anyway. So hopefully they gave it to somebody else who processed it. Pepper Park is loaded with rays. I don't know where Pepper Park is. I'll have to check that out. Get some rays in there. I like those ball jigs from Shimano, but they're super expensive, sadly. Yeah, you're talking about like those Teinomi jigs. Yeah, jigs aren't cheap, man. That's why you lose them. It's like, you know what's heartbreaking? You ever like lose the jig where it's that one that you've caught a lot of fish on, or like you caught your PB something, and then you caught 5 other fish, and then when it breaks off, it's like, oh, man, you get like, at least for me, sometimes I get like sentimental value to a certain jig. It's like the paint's kind of chipped up, and it's like I know I've caught a lot of fish on it, and then when you lose it or it breaks off, it's honestly sad. Like it's like I feel remorse for it. Like, man, it hurts so bad losing those jigs. Sometimes a new one I lose and it snags. I'm like, that sucks. I mean, there goes $8 or whatever, but I can get over it. With those ones that have like, you got a lot of fish kills on them. I don't know why, but it just, they get it's harder to lose, at least for me anyways. I lost one like that this weekend. I caught, I think, my PB calico on it last weekend. 2 huge calicos, dude, like 17 inches. I caught sand bass, 2 giant sand bass. I caught 3, all on the same jig. I caught 3 yellowfin. I caught those calicos, and these were all different days. And then it broke off because I had a rod. I had a reel malfunction. My Akuma Komodo, the drag broke, except the drag didn't break like loose. It seized up. There was 0 drag whatsoever. It was like you could not pull it. And I got bit, and the jig, I should have known something was up. So the assist hooks came off the first time I got bit, and the split rings were just totally peeled off. They were mangled. They were still on the jig. And I looked at it. I was like, oh, dude, that must have been a big bite. I was showing Dave Rage, and then I didn't think much of it. I didn't really check my drag. Rehooked it up, put some new assist hooks on, put it back down again, and then I got bit. Big time bit, right? And then instantly, line just snapped. And it snapped right in the middle of the mono. And that's when I went, like, I pulled, I knew something was up. I tried to pull the drag out. Nothing. Sliced my fingers open on the braid because I grabbed it to try to pull the drag, and I just ended up cutting my fingers open. And the drag would loosen. Like, I'd click it. It was a star drag. Clicked it all the way down. Still nothing. It would just rock solid. So I took it to Turner's today. I bought it at Turner's like 2 weeks ago, and they're pretty cool. They didn't have the one I needed, so they're going to rain check me on it. They're going to call me when one comes in. I got the power handle one with like the big crank, I think like the 7.6 ratio. They had the smaller ratio one in the 400, but I was like, I'll just wait. So they were really cool about it. They didn't really ask me any questions. They tested the drag, and they were like, yeah, dude, this thing is shot. I've had one Komodo, though, that has lasted me a really long time. I think like a year and a half. And I've slayed tons of fish on it. I had no problems with it. It's actually been one of my best reels. So this other one, I don't know. They said they don't really get hardly any recalls on them. So hopefully I just got a bad one, but it legit cost me 2 yellowfin and a jig. So that kind of sucks. Yeah, but I lost that jig, dude. And I was just freaking killing it on that thing too. Crazy all those different kinds of fish you can catch on one type of jig. Catch up on you guys here. Stock trout don't taste very good or fight very well. Yeah, I mean, I thought they tasted fine, to be honest with you. I mean, they don't feed them the best stuff, right? It's like the cornmeal and all that. They're not as good. Nothing's good as wild fish, obviously. But yeah, the fight, that is true. It's like reeling in. One I caught this year was just like the rod. I wasn't even holding it. Like it fell over in the water because I had it propped up on my tackle bag. And I was like, oh, and then I ran over there and I didn't think there was anything on. And I reeled in. I'm like, oh, it must have fell off. But I kept reeling it all the way in. And it was like, I think just gave up. Forget halfway through it. It just pulled it in. Yeah, it was not a fight at all. I had like 2-pound test too, hoping it was going to be a fight. Yeah, Cal, dude, your rod went extremely bendo. Dude, I saw it. That was crazy. That was freaking awesome. Had to cut the tail, helps bleed it out, and identify my fish. Yeah, always bleed your fish, man. We went over that. Cut those gills or slit its throat or something. Get the blood out of it, man. Wash it off in the water. Let it bleed out. Processed over limit. My friends and coworkers getting hooked up. Nice, man. Spread the love. Get a Daiwa Alexa TWS. Yeah, they had one there, Cal, and I thought about switching it over. I feel like I looked at the Daiwa Alexas, but I think the drag. I don't think they had a very heavy drag for some reason. I don't know why, but like I'm really big on heavy drags. I think I like to power fish in, to be honest with you. I go like heavy line a lot of times, and I like heavy drag, and I usually set my drag fairly heavy on stuff. I like to kind of get fish up. For some reason, I looked at it and it didn't have like that. Kuma Komodo dude's got like 35 pounds of drag on a bait casting reel, which is crazy. And I've looked in the Shimano's and the Lexa, and I think they were like 15 or 18 pounds. I could be wrong, but I think that was why I opted to not do it. But I guess if the drag doesn't work, what the hell point is it, right? Eric, I don't get that. Down in SD, oos, welcome, man. But yeah, some good catching up. Let's see. Oh yeah, losing my. So I lost the trip before last. I lost my phone. Everybody was talking about that. And what's funny was in my DMs, I think like at least a half dozen people were sending me pictures of like phone carriers and phone cases and stuff like that. And like I have all those. I've got the bungee one and I've got that plastic one, that slides in. But what happened was we were on a boat. It wasn't like it was in my hand and it fell out. I was wearing these convertible pants, like the Columbia ones, and the pockets, dude, they were like this deep. I don't think must not have like worn them around with like a phone in it or whatever. But the phone, this is what it is, the Galaxy Note 22. So it's like a $1,300 phone. But like the pocket doesn't even carry, like a corner would stick out. This whole thing didn't even like fit in the pocket. And I leaned against the rail because it was just like it was a center console bolt, but the rails aren't that high. And I just leaned on it and it had like pushed my pocket had like pushed it up. So when I leaned on the rail, the phone, it just flipped out of my pocket and fell in. And it was one of those things where my brain didn't quite register like what had happened. I kind of heard the splash and I saw the phone falling in the water. But since I wasn't holding it or whatever, it didn't like click in my brain until it was like too late. And I was like, oh my God, that's my phone. And what's even more ironic is that it fell like a slow pitch jig. It went down like this, like it went so slow. And I almost, if I jumped it, I probably could have got it. It was going just like, it went down so slow. I don't know if it was like the rubbery case was just like holding it or whatever, but it kind of mocked me as it went down like slow pitch jig style. But yeah, luckily I had insurance, good insurance, so I didn't need to return the old phone. Still $250 to get a new one, but I mean, it is what it is. But thank you for everybody that gave me the phone leash recommendations. But trust me, I have them, dude. I do have them. And I didn't bring my life jacket because there was some on board, so I wasn't wearing one because I always keep my phone in the life vest now with the bungees and the straps, because when I'm pulling it out of my kayak, it just freak accident, man. Fell out of my pocket. I mean, what are you gonna do? Nothing I can do. I need a fanny pack. Come on, bro. You know I got a fanny pack. Real men wear fanny packs. Daiwa Alexa has 28. Dude, that's pretty good. So it must not have been the drag. I must have been looking at something else because I'd be happy with 28.7 pounds of drag for sure. The family pack of phones, yeah. So I had to buy it. I bought a new phone. This was the backup phone because I couldn't go, even though they got it to me like 3 days, I couldn't go without a phone. So I got the backup phone. Then I got my main phone. So now I'm back to two phones. I went from two phones to one phone to no phones, back to one phone, back to two phones. So back up to two phones. $500 later. Back in action. Crazy, man. You can't make this stuff up. Let's see here. Oh, Coach, is that you in the waiting room? He did make it. Coach is here. We're going to hear from him for a little bit. I didn't think he was going to come in. I was hoping he would, but we'll see what he has to say. I think he wants to talk about some IV fishing. Yeah, you guys talking about that freshwater action. This is the man right here. Yeah, you think he should have jumped in for it? I thought about it, but it was cold. Dropped the phone in the lake, scoring down to net a fish. Luckily, was able to find it and get it out. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, my phone's waterproof too. So, but we were in like the La Jolla area. There's no way that we were so deep. We were in the kelp beds. It was done though. Although now that I think about it, that one when I was dock fishing, although that was my backup phone, that's why I didn't freak about it too much. That one was a couple years old. I mean, that was probably only 15 feet deep. I probably could have dove in for that one, but I don't know. I don't think it was worth it. You ready to go, Coach? Or are you still setting up? We'll give him a few minutes. We'll give you a few minutes. It's cool. I got this little green room down here. I can see who joins my stream and stuff like that. Pretty cool. So let's see. Eric had a question about sabikis. Sabiki rods, what I use, and what he needs to buy. Eric, here is a link I just sent. This is an affiliate link from Amazon, so just to be fair, I do get a cut from that. Probably like it's the same price to you guys if you just click the link and use it. They give me a few bucks. It's the Ahi Rig, and for those of you guys that don't know, this is the end of the sabiki. I know I've went over this before. You can see it's hollow inside, and what it does, it keeps the sabiki inside this so it doesn't get all tangled up in your clothes and stuff like that. Have you ever put a sabiki on a rod and it's got 6 hooks on it? I guarantee you lean back on it, you put it in your tackle box, you put it in your truck. Anybody that's used a sabiki knows the hell of having a free sabiki. So it tangles up, it gets everywhere. This thing, it puts the actual rods or puts the actual jig inside of the rod so it stays out. And then when you need it, it falls out. So that link that I sent Eric, that's the exact one that I have. It's the Ahi. And then I would just say just put a cheap reel on it. Don't go spend a lot of money. Get something that's like $35. Get a bait caster if you've got a spare one. You're not going to be using it for anything extreme. So my advice is just get something cheap. But yeah, that's the only guide that it has. It's just right there, and then it's hollow inside. It goes inside the tube. I took it apart. It comes in 3 pieces. And then the actual, look at this. I've had it out for like 3 minutes and it's already tangled. So this is why I like using the sabiki rod, just because I don't have to deal with this every time. And what you can do is you just leave the weight on it, Eric, and then it sucks up into the thing. So the end of it holds the weight, and then when you put it sideways and you just release it, it just falls out, and then it holds the sabiki in it. When you suck it up, you just give it a little shake, and it'll suck the weight back in, and you're good to go. If you want to get fancy, you can throw the squid jig on. This one's like 3 ounces. It's glow. And you can catch squid on this if you're in a squid area, or you can just keep it on the end of the sabiki. I like to do that too, and then it stays on there. And then the 2 that I use, I like these ones, the Hayabusa. These ones are probably my favorite. I like to use the glow. I got a link for these 2 on the Amazon if you want to buy those. Let me put that over there. And then the Ahi. This is the same company that makes the rod. So if you see that name, and these ones actually have glow hooks. I know you can't see it, but the actual hooks themselves have glow. I like to use glow on mine. It seems to work. If you want to see what I'm talking about here, So this was actually me using it the other day. It was just surprising. I had some footage for it. But you guys just shake it upside down. And you can see these were mackerel here. They were just on the top of the water. So I was lucky enough to get a hold of some. And you just shake it, and they'll come up and get it. You don't need a lot of action. You just want to lift it up and down. So this is the rod. This is the one I put in the link. So this is the exact same rod in the thing. You see them biting them right there. Just whip them into a frenzy, and then eventually get bites and just yank them in, man. Not much to it. So wherever you see them in the water column, you know, if they're in your fish finder, if they're 20 feet down, send it 20 feet down. If they're right there on the surface, just send it on the surface. But those are just mackerel, small mackerel. Just shake it, you know, send them in a frenzy. But that was the rod I used. That's the one in the link. And like I said, so on the back, what's cool is they rig them up in the package. So you're going to tie to the main line. And what you're going to do is you open this package up, you tie it to your rod, and you yank them out. They'll unravel from the package. Pop, 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 pop. That way you don't get it all tangled up. And then you just put a weight on the end. So you can rig this thing up before you even yank it out. This one, they're all rigged like that. So you leave it in the bag, undo it, pull it from the bag, and they'll pop out of the spots and do it for you. Yeah, that's the rod I use. Those are the jigs that I use. And yeah, got a sabiki hook in your finger last summer, dude. That's no joke. Those things are so small too. I think it's worse when you get smaller hooks. Yeah. Of course, the some hooks are too big to go inside the tube. Oh, interesting, Doug. Yeah, I always use the small ones. I guess I'm looking for small bait, but that is something to think about. So don't go too crazy on the hooks. These are just size 8. Usually I use size 10 or size 8 for the smaller mackerels and like La Jolla and stuff. I haven't used the super big ones. The downside to sabiki obviously is you got to dedicate the rod to it, right? So if you're worried about space, say on like a kayak or something like that, and you do use one of these rods, and somebody like me that likes to rig up their stuff, you're losing a rod spot to throw the sabiki rod on. So I mean, that's the downside. So if you want to just get the little packages, you can, but then if I know Oscar do that, dude, like he unhooks them and hooks them up every time, and he keeps it like coiled up in the front, and it works for him. He's able to do it, so he can do it on one rod. Me personally, I like to go out with just like 1,000 rods, and I have all my rods rigged up for something specific. I don't like changing rigs. I don't like changing rods. Even slow pitch, I keep different weights on different rods just so I can grab it and go. I don't necessarily like changing the same rod. That's just a personal thing for me. I like efficiency. I like to be in the water as much as I can. So if I need to bring a lot of rods that are rigged up, that's just kind of my go-to. But yeah, I mean, that's what I use for sabiki. Hopefully that helped. Eric, click the link. Go make me some money. I think they give me like probably $2 or something like that. But do like a sale. But it helps, dude. It's cool. So. Yeah, I do appreciate that. Let me see if you had any other questions. It's kind of speaking. Every time I rig up my sabiki, I wish I had one of those rods. Yeah, dude. And once you get one, you're like, I'm not going back to a normal one. I agree. I snagged 2 completely brand new rigs at Shelter Island Pier yesterday, so I don't need to buy a new sabiki for a while. Brand new. Where were they? On the pier? You snagged them like on like the sides, on like the barnacles and stuff like that. But yeah, that's no joke. If you get a 7-foot rod, you might have to cut down. Yeah, that is true. Salty, so if you guys can get the 8-foot, get the 8-foot, because sometimes the jigs themselves, they're too long, and you do have to like cut one out if you want it to. Otherwise, they hang out of the tube a little bit, which is annoying. It still works, but it's kind of defeats the purpose. So you can either cut one off, or you just make it shorter. The rich just keep getting richer. That's you, Eric, dude. You're the businessman now. Snagging on myself every time. Yeah, dude. You ever lean back and it's like you get 3 of them stuck in your arm? It pisses me off. All right, Coach, you ready? I'm going to keep you hanging, guys. Without further ado, he needs no introduction. The myth, the man, the legend. Coach, let me put my headphones on so I can hear you.
The myth, the man, the legend, the guy that can't catch a fish to save his life the last couple of weeks other than in the valley.
Hold on, I can't hear you yet.
All right.
Can you
Well,
hear me?
let me know when. Let me know when.
Can you guys hear Coach? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
We can hear him.
They can hear me. You can't hear me.
Say something, Coach.
Yeah, I'm talking, man.
Oh, you're talking.
I'm talking. How you been, man? Other than failing the species challenge, I guess I've been doing all right. I haven't had hardly a session yet with more than 2 or 3, and I should be having 4 or 5 per session, but
Nothing.
not going good.
You'll get there.
Oh, Lord.
Done.
How you been, Mr. Muto?
I can't complain, man. Been out there fishing. You know, what else can you ask for? I mean, so far life is good. I mean, I'm healthy. You know, I don't have many complaints, to be honest with you. You know, just it is what it is, man. Just happy to be alive another day.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You got anything for me before I get into the valley stuff? I only have a little bit to show you, but
yeah, show us what you got. I know some of these guys like the freshwater action, so let's do it. Let me know. You want me to share your screen?
Well, as some of you know, I'm sort of obsessed with the Imperial Valley, just a tiny bit, just a little. Friday I'd say a 50 to 60 fish day would be my guess, which isn't tremendous by the Imperial Valley standards, but still a pretty darn nice day. My kid, even though she slept all but a few hours, she had a 12 or 13 fish day, so. Uh-oh. I can't hear you, Mr. Muto. Am I still good? Did your headphones connect up? Oh, I'm hearing something there. I can hear him now. Maybe. Nope. No sound.
It's not a big deal.
There we go.
I've been turning my mic on and off because my headphones aren't working. It's not a big deal. We'll make it work. Yeah, let me know. You want me to bring up your map and.
Yeah, anytime. We'll do my report first.
Cool.
So this is on SD Fish's, my own report. So if somebody doesn't like it, they can pound sand. But this is SD Fish. Man, look at my ratings. I'm pushing 60,000 ratings. Good Lord. Anyway.
The king of SD Fish, man. I don't think I've ever seen a post where you weren't involved or mentioned on somebody. It doesn't matter which category I'm in. It's like offshore, freshwater, saltwater, boating. I'm like, there he is.
I'm like a bad odor. I'm hard to avoid. But here's a catfish I caught at night. This was about I'd say a 3.5 pounder maybe. There's a striper I caught at dawn. There's a bluegill I caught not too long after dawn. A smallmouth bass, and then there's the take right there.
That's pretty damn impressive, man. I mean, for any like saltwater, freshwater, that's good.
I kept the carp for my buddy's Asian lady. She and her family really enjoy those. So when I find some carp that are willing to bite, I'll work on them a little bit. The biggest catfish on the table is probably approaching 4 pounds. I think I weighed Chloe's biggest catfish, and I think it was this one right here, and it was just a shade over 4.
Yeah, that's crazy. And this is down like El Centro area, right? For those people that are unfamiliar.
Yeah, this is kind of down towards El Centro. I fish across the entire Imperial Valley. It's really a big place. It's not one spot. It's a huge network of little tiny spots. And
are they like the channels, right? Like the cement channels?
I'll fish the mud ones too. I mean, if it's there, I fish it. Whether it's a drain or a drain or canal head or a junction box or a tunnel under a road or a concrete canal or an outlet or an inlet or an air intake, or if I see it, I fish it.
That's crazy. What's the average depth, would you say, is over
I'd
there?
say the average depth across most of the valley is about 10 to 20 inches.
Yeah, shallow. Pretty
It's
shallow.
shallow.
That's nuts.
But places like if you're paying attention, the bottom of this picture with the smallmouth right here, this box is probably 5 to 9 feet down inside.
That's pretty deep.
So you have like these really deep spots with these big shallow areas in between. And the bigger canals, of course, can get a lot deeper. They can get 10 or 12 feet deep in places, but most of this is smaller water that's not very deep over most of its length. So you fish the places where it goes under roads or where it goes through a pipe or where it goes into a box. That tends to be where the fish are holding in that deeper shaded water. And you just focus on every area like that you can find. And
so is there like a lot of walking? Do you like walk down the channels or you kind of drive place to place?
Drive. You drive, you find a spot with 3 or 4 or 5 places to fish. You fish them for a few minutes each until the fish stop biting. If you get any biters, and then you move on to the next one.
So just
very
like,
simple.
Pretty much like anywhere.
Yeah, but it's way more run and gun than you think. And you're like, oh, it's catfish fishing. You sit on the bank in a lawn chair while you sleep and you throw out a chunk. That's not how it works out there. If you do that, you might catch 1 or 2 if you're lucky, but you're not going to get into a 50 to 150 fish day.
Nice. Dave Rage wants to know, has anybody ever called you out for fishing weird waters?
Oh, all the time. Actually, one of my fishing partners who I took out there with me called me a dumbass I said, I wonder if there's any fish under there, because the canal was actually dry for like a half mile each way. And right where it went underneath the freeway, there was this huge box that went underneath to let the canal under the freeway. He goes, man, you're a dumbass. What's wrong with, there's not going to be any fish in there. I pulled out about a 5-pound channel as long as my arm.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So what do they just like, the water recedes, so they live there and then they just wait for it to fill again? And that's crazy. Surprised there's enough food in there.
Well, it is very much a fish eat fish world out there. These fish are a mix of porn stars and Olympic athletes. They not only fight the current their whole lives in bodies of water where it's flowing 10 to 40 miles an hour day and night for years on end, but they manage to spawn in that same water, and they manage to successfully compete with each other.
It's a rough life right there, man.
It's brutal. And if you notice, I have no compunction about keeping bass or catfish or whatever from out there, because it's such a brutal environment that all of them have sunken in bellies. They'll try to take on meals so big it'll kill them sometimes. That's how hungry the fish out there are. So if you go out there and fish, you don't have to feel bad about keeping fish out of the valley. I mean, there's so many. If you want to keep legal fish, if you want to keep legal bass or whatever, I mean, help yourself, because you're just helping the ones that are left. There are literally so many there killing and eating each other, and they will try to eat a smallmouth 5 inches longer than this guy will try to eat him, and it'll get stuck, and you'll see him floating down the canal. You see it all the time.
Savage, man. Yeah, I mean, if you're keeping carps, that's next level.
I mean, I keep them for my buddy's lady. Her family really likes them. I forget whether she's Vietnamese or Lao, baby. But
people like them. I mean, people like the greenback mackerels too. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't judge. Yeah, Dave Rage said he loves urban fishing. He's got a few secret spots himself.
Oh, that's good. I got a lot of spots around town. I don't take too many people to them, except for some of the panfish guys, but that's super fun too. Very different from being out in the valley, though. Out there, any 10-foot puddle can yield a 5-pound catfish or a bass as long as your arm anytime.
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to get out there just to experience it once.
Well, let me know.
Go
I
see the
tend to leave on
crackheads.
Friday afternoon and come back Saturday midday if you want to go with me.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out one of these times, man. Definitely.
And I mean, it's like fishing on the moon. It's like nothing you've ever done before at all. I mean, a 25-pound carp can live in water that you couldn't reach the bottom of. I mean, less depth than your arm will hold a fish is 36 inches long.
So what are like the limits? Like catfish and stuff like that? Is it
You can keep 6 of the black bass that are 13 inches or longer. I think your limit on sunfish and crappie is 25. I don't think tilapia have a limit. Catfish limit is 10. There's no limit on carp. There's no limit on bullheads if you can find them.
nice.
But I mean, 10 1.5 to 4 pound channel catfish is enough to completely fill 3 medium-sized coolers.
That's good to know, man. We're out there smashing it.
I mean, I didn't have an amazing day on Friday. My back was kind of hurting, so I didn't really hit it as hard as I could have. But in years gone by, when I was still a man, so to speak, I say that tongue in cheek. But in years gone by, I think I had one day where I did 192 in one day with the counter.
Dude, that's crazy. That's filthy numbers right there. That's pretty awesome. I mean, I've never caught anywhere close to that many fish.
Yeah, I mean, I was a straight up animal, and I had a straight killer with me, and I pulled 192, and he did like 147 or something.
It's freaking awesome.
But I mean, the sheer number of fish out there is mind-boggling. If you cover enough dirt, it's.
My wife's out here trying to do the math. She's like, "How many fish per minute is that? Or how many hours was he fishing?"
20. We always counted a 24-hour day.
So a 24-hour day. I'll let you calculate that out.
So noon to noon. And there was very little sleep during that time. Very little.
Dude, that's freaking crazy.
So let me get to the shameless self-plug, so to speak, here real quick. This is on my channel. I give Muto's channel rights to show this or whatever it works. Anyway. So this is my channel. I have a video called Channel Cat on the Light Gear, okay? And this is me casting into a junction box that anyone that's ever been to the Imperial Valley has driven by. I made this video there to prove a point. That if you have the right technique, the location doesn't matter as long as you're presenting it to the right kind of water.
This is Worf TV, right?
Yeah, this is at Worf TV. So let me scroll down.
There you guys go. Worf TV on YouTube.
Worf TV. That's right here. Worf Space TV. Channel Cat on the Light Gear. I got 1,000 views on this video. It's a short. It only takes 34 seconds of your life to see this. Now, I pulled this catfish, and I will not normally talk about a spot, but I'll talk about this one because as far as I'm concerned, it's not one. This place has been driven by every single person who's ever been to the Imperial Valley that I know of, pretty much. And I was still able to pull that fish out of that place because I had the right mindset. It's not the spot. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with it. It's being able to present a bait at the right location in the proper manner that the fish is going to take it and you're going to get the hookup.
That's awesome. All about the mindset.
Yeah, it's the mindset. It has nothing to do with what spot you pick. It's all about hitting as many spots as possible, finding the fish that are willing to bite, getting them hooked and getting them into the hand and getting your bait into the next spot.
Hell yeah.
So if you want to check out that video, it's on my channel. Go ahead and check it out. And this
put
is
the link in the chat.
This is the spot right here. I'll show it to you on Google Maps. So this is where I made this video. Okay.
There you go, boys.
This is
my admission right here.
I promise this is the spot. You can go there and look, and unless somebody has poisoned it or lit it on fire, this palm tree is going to be right there. I guarantee you. Okay?
I'm ready.
This is at the corner of Evan Hughes Highway and Forester Road, also known as Westmoreland Road. This is the largest artery along the West Mesa portion of the Imperial Valley. If you're going north from south on the west end, you have driven through this intersection. If you have driven east to west through the Imperial Valley, other than on Highway 8 or 98, it was on this road.
So are these, and you can fish here. Is it just public ground or what's nobody?
Okay, so get this. This is all private water that they encourage you to fish because it's good for the Imperial Valley. It brings in tourist dollars, it brings in tax money, it brings in gas tax money, all that stuff. But all this water is privately owned by the Imperial Irrigation Department and the farmers. Okay? So it's super important if you go out here to fish to be totally courteous to everyone. If a farmer's coming and you're blocking the road, move so he can get by you. It's his water you're fishing in. They don't mind if you fish in it. Nobody will say anything to you about fishing unless you're trespassing. And there's signs telling you where you can and can't trespass.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
But all this water is privately owned. It's all owned by the district. If the district guy is coming, get out of his way. Let him do his job. That's their water to do with as they see fit. It doesn't have anything to do with us. But everyone out there will wave. Everyone out there will ask you if you caught stuff. Sometimes you can drive for days and not see another fisherman. COVID has kind of changed that a little bit. But you can literally drive 1,000 miles of canal road and never see another fisherman. A lot of the time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane how few fishermen there are for how many spots there are in this place.
Yeah, I mean, before you, I would never think about going out there to fish. Honestly, it's just one of those things. It's just kind of it's not a lake, it's not a river. I think even more than anything, that's why I had that question. I mean, sometimes I see something like that, like if you go to like Coachella Valley, they've got a lot of these channels, but you can't fish them. There's a sign everywhere that's like illegal, no fishing. There's like you see the signs that tell you. So when I see that, my brain instantly is like, oh well. Where I came from or lived for a little while, you couldn't fish stuff like that. So seeing you can go to a different area and do it is interesting.
And one of the most amazing things about the Imperial Valley are the laws that regulate fishing. So here in San Diego, we have a long list of the stuff you can't do. Okay? An awful lot of the stuff that you can't do here, you can do there. Things like using live goldfish. It's legal in the Imperial Valley. Wild, but true.
And that's a city or a county ordinances.
So what they're doing is they are matching our regulations that affect the Colorado River water, which all this water is. And they're matching it with the regulations on the Colorado River and the regulations that we share with Arizona and to some degree Nevada, although Nevada has a little bit different rules.
Interesting.
But things like chumming with carp chunks is totally legal. Chumming with bluegill pieces is totally legal. Using frozen bluegill is totally legal. Frozen carp is legal. Frozen or dead carp is legal everywhere. Dead tilapia or tilapia chunks are legal everywhere. Live tilapia are even okay, but there's boundaries to that. But
it's good to know.
But I mean, all this stuff that you could never do here, using live mosquito fish as bait, just all this stuff is totally legal there. Throwing chum in fresh water is illegal, right? We can't go down to Lake Murray and go chum a bunch of bluegill pieces and then fish over it. We can't, but you can in the Imperial Valley.
Crazy.
So,
good stuff, man.
So a lot of times when I approach, so that video was taken right here. I mean, this is one of the eucalyptus laterals. There's a whole bunch. And guys, please don't go to this place and hammer it to death. I guarantee you I caught the main willing participant that's going to be there for a while. So you might as well let this place rest up for a bit.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a huge rush to the IV.
Oh, man, I'm going to pull up on this intersection. There's going to be 87 people fishing this corner.
You're going to see Salty and Eric out there just working it, going overtime.
So what I usually do, if I've caught carp or tilapia or bluegill beforehand, I'll cut 3 or 4 nice fresh pieces. I'll throw them in here. I'll let them swirl through, and then I'll hook a piece on, and I'll drift it in. It's that simple.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, And if there's any fish there, you yank out 1 or 2, sometimes 3 if you're really on it. You yank them out super quick before they can spook their buddies. But typically you pull 1 or 2 decent fish out, and then you move to the next spot.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. I don't use weights. I use very small hooks as a general rule, unless I'm fishing big drains at night. I kind of use bigger hooks to try to prevent gut hooking big catfish. It only sort of works. It's a super fun place to fish, and actually it's a super fun place to visit. There's lots of bird life there. Lots of guys go out there to go hunting. There's in normal years, the Walmart discount rack is like 200 yards long at the Super Walmart in Imperial, and it's like, my wife loves to go there. You can get a fantastic steak dinner for like 40 something bucks.
There you go, man.
I mean,
you heard it here. Walmart steak dinners, baby.
Steak and eggs at Rosa's Plain Food is a must if you're out there in the morning in Calexico. Is a must. Sometime during your life, you have to go there and visit Rosa's Plain Food and order the steak and eggs for breakfast. The steak is thick. The eggs look tiny on top of the steak. It actually falls over the edges of the plate. That's how big the steak is. It's nuts.
I'm taking my wife there then. Romantic vacation. We're gonna go hit the Walmart, go hit the sell rack, and we're gonna go get some steaks. We're gonna go shoot some birds, catch some channel catfish. Yeah,
it's a super fun place. Super fun. And believe it or not, there's a couple of hot springs you can go swimming in. There's just all kinds of stuff to do out there, but it's definitely a fun place. And people are like, oh, it's so far. By the time I drove to San Vicente, rented the boat, walked back up the ramp, walked back down, got on the rental boat and went out, I could have been out in the Imperial Valley catching fish or doing whatever already by then. So It's not as far as you think.
Awesome. Great stuff, man. Thanks for joining. Anything else you want to plug? Check out the YouTube, guys. Coach Worf TV.
It's Worf TV, spelled just like it is here on my screen. If Mr. Muto's got it up, Worf TV. There's going to be a bunch of shorts coming from the Imperial Valley. I just posted another one yesterday. Just all kinds of short form content and a few long form content videos too coming. But there's plenty of fish out there. I mean, it's a huge area and it's easy to get intimidated, but you just fish spot to spot. And before you know it, your cooler's filling up and your day is coming to an end. So
awesome. Well, appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on and sharing the love. Well, Eric had a question. Oh, question: would they recognize Coach without his mask?
This video is proof that even when I'm by myself or with my kid out in the middle of the desert, I still wear the damn thing. So there you have it.
So probably not, Coach. All right, man. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it as always.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, man.
All right. Bye.
Peace.
Thank you, Coach Worf. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I was having technical difficulties, so I was just unmuting my mic as I talked. But hopefully it wasn't too bad. Any word on OC reopening fish closure? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. We're down here in San Diego. Was that Puhukai? Is that how you say that? I know. I think the harbors are open. Jesse might know. Jesse lives up there in Orange County. So, Jesse, if you're still on, maybe you can answer that. I know. I'm pretty sure the harbors and stuff are open. I don't know if it's open yet for like the offshore fishing. I know there was like a 12-mile limit or something like that, but unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that. But if Jesse's on here still, he might know the answer. If he's not on here, we do apologize. No, we already got that question. Yeah, guys, aside from that, if you got any more questions, let me know. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Just talked about sabikis a little bit, the offshore trip. I didn't even talk on that much. I had the reel failure. This weekend, I'm going to do probably the species challenge. Like I said, try to hit up as many species as I can. I think I'm just going down to San Diego Bay. Like I said, if any of you guys want to come out, obviously I'll be out there. I'm probably just going to hit, like I said, small hooks, small bait. I'm going for as many species as I can. Lots of perch, wrasse, stuff like that. I still need a spotty, actually. I don't have a spotted bay bass, so I'll probably go catch a spotty. and then get some other stuff. I still need halibut, some flatfish. There's still a lot of fish to catch. Of course, halibut are easier said than done. I mean, that's definitely a challenge. But yeah, I mean that's the plan. I think Jesse looks like he might be going out to La Jolla. If you guys want to join him, so we got plenty to do. Yes, it means calm ocean. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Was that Hawaiian? Okay, Jesse. Harbors are open offshore, close to fishing, but you can boat through there to get past the closed water. Okay, I think that's how it's been. So hopefully that answered your question. Thank you, Jesse, for the info. That helps out a lot. Yeah, if you guys don't have any more questions or anything else you want to talk about, I think that's it. Awesome talking with you guys. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it was entertaining. If you guys go to my YouTube, like Submission Fishing Co. on YouTube. If you want to help out the stream at all, you can go to submissionfishing.com. Check it out. We got some scents, got some apparel, stuff like that. Any of the links you guys see in the like the comments and stuff like that, or the description, I should say. Any of that stuff helps. So I appreciate it. More than anything, I appreciate you guys hanging out. I mean, that's more important than anything. Thanks for helping me grow this thing. And yeah, you're on the YouTube. Just because you're on the YouTube doesn't mean you liked it. Doesn't mean you subscribed, Derek. So you got to subscribe and like, because you can watch the videos. The videos always get tons of likes. The subscribers, man, are tough to get. But yeah, it's growing, man. The channel's growing slowly, piece by piece. So I appreciate it. It's awesome. It's crazy kind of watching it go, when it first it's only been a few months, right? I've been doing the YouTube thing, and it's like my first, even when I look at my first couple of videos, it's pretty bad. I think just even the editing growth and learning how to do it, I've just been learning it as I go. Just trying to build value, trying to get a black belt for everybody. I mean, I'm working for that black belt in fishing. My goal is to help get everybody there. And the reason and the way you do that, same thing as the gym. Like those of you that don't know, I do jiu-jitsu. Currently I'm a brown belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and it's the whole community. It's training with everybody else that makes you better. That's one of the synonymous things with fishing is, even though it's a solo sport, it's all you guys. It's everybody bouncing ideas off of each other. It's showing different techniques. One person uses, certain techniques, finesse stuff, drop shots, Texas rigs, Ned rigs. Other person uses slow pitch jigs, live bait, but you connect that together, and you find out what works. You learn the spots, you see where people fish, but it's the community makes you a better fisherman, even though you can't fish yourself. But it's the same thing in that regard. Training with the other people, going out with the other people is what improves you. When you're rolling and training with somebody and you watch videos, it doesn't really do much until you've actually grappled with somebody. That's when you come away with it. You get your ass beat, or you wreck one of the new guys. You learn something every time, and it's drilled in your head. So whenever we go out in the group, or you go out, one of these communities, or even when you're in the community or watching the videos, I think that's where you grow, because you try new stuff, see things that work, maybe they don't work, and you kind of get your own style. So that's what I really like. And we're pushing for that black belt, man. Be able to catch everything, right? Know what all the terminology is, know what the species are, know what the laws are, and then being able to go out and execute it and catch it. I mean, that's the goal. Just getting everybody better. I want to get better, continue to get better. I want you guys to get better, and it's cool watching you guys slay it. Oh yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody else. Glad you could be here. We'll see you guys out on the water, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.